government official invested $500 million into a sitting president's private crypto company. And months later, that same foreign-linked firm was granted access to some of the most advanced AI chips in the world. That's not a conspiracy theory. That's what Sydney Kamlager-Dove just brought into the open during a tense congressional hearing, calling it the greatest corruption scandal of this administration. At the center of it all, the UAE's tech giant G42, its reported ties to China, and a decision to greenlight hundreds of thousands of advanced U.S. semiconductor chips, technology that could shape the global AI balance of power. And here's the question. Is this strategic diplomacy, or is this pay-to-play foreign policy?
Representative Kamlager-Dove.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, Undersecretary Hellberg, for being here today. Undersecretary Hellberg, your flagship Pax Silica initiative is focused on securing the semiconductor and AI supply chain and, quote, ensuring aligned partners build the AI ecosystem of tomorrow. But it is an open question whether one of those partners, the UAE and its national champion G42, is an aligned partner of the United States or just of the president. The Wall Street Journal recently reported that the chair of G42, who is also the UAE National Security Advisor, purchased a $500 million stake in Trump's crypto company just a few months before Trump greenlit 100,000 advanced AI chips to G42 and 400,000 chips to other firms in the UAE. Suspicious, concerning. Many folks would question if this is the greatest corruption scandal of this administration. Now, your Pax Silica initiative is further deepening ties between this administration and G42. So, Undersecretary Hellberg, are you aware that the U.S. intelligence community has had concerns about G42's tech cooperation with China?
Thank you for the question, Congresswoman. As part of this role, I get intelligence briefings and access to a lot of, if not all of the information available about the UAE as well as G42. What I will say is the UAE is an incredibly important partner. They are a major investor who has pledged to invest $1.4 trillion in the United States. We have, not to cut you off, but you know that we all have limited time. But given the fact that you are getting briefings, and yes, the UAE is a strategic partner, I would assume that in your position, you've had access to briefings with information that might be enlightening, concerning, and you would use that information, right, to help in the decisions that are being made about agreements and ties that are happening between us and UAE. You would. What I will say, in all honesty, Congresswoman, is the briefings that I've had about the UAE and G42 are not substantially out of step. Is that the UAE has mostly, on the whole, complied with a lot when the U.S. government expresses concerns to the UAE government on various transactions involving China. The UAE has mostly worked to address those concerns. And if I could just add one more thing, the issues that have been points of concern are not substantially out of step with issues that tend to be concerns with a vast majority of partners, not just the UAE, including Canada.
So I'm going to have to, you can probably get to some of this in an additional question. Did the administration conduct a thorough assessment of G42's ties to China before bringing it into the Pax Silica initiative?
There's only so much that I can talk about in an unclassified setting, Congresswoman, but we did a very thorough due diligence.
Could you then share the unclassified assessment with Congress, with this body? I mean, if the information that you received, you're suggesting, did not imperil the agreement, is that information that you could share?
So I just did. And the assessment is that the issues that have been points of concern about the UAE's connections to China, the UAE government has actually undertaken steps, verifiable steps, to correct for those concerns when they were presented.
So has G42 severed ties with the PRC?
To the best of my knowledge, yes.
Okay. Well, thank you. Do you anticipate that?
And if I could just add, not only have they severed ties,
I have only 49 seconds. Okay. So when I'm done, you can say that. Okay. Do you anticipate that the administration will greenlight more advanced chips to G42?
I'm not aware of any plans. The chips that have already been authorized in the bilateral AI acceleration partnership are obviously substantial. I'm not aware of any additional plans to authorize new chips on top of that.
Okay. So I think, and many members of this committee and folks in the intelligence community think that it is a blatant act of corruption for the president to give a company access to advanced chips, especially when the chair has personally paid him hundreds of millions of dollars. I know you can't speak to that, but I did send a letter with the ranking members of 4 separate committees to the Inspector General of the Commerce Department to investigate what is going on. I thank you for your testimony, and I thank you for the answers that you have shared today, and I'm sure that you can now say, because I'm sure the chair will give you time, to reference that article that you have with you. And with that, Mr. Chair, I yield back.
Sure. So I'll be very brief, but I'll just say that on your point about G42, not only am I not aware of any ongoing ties between G42 and China, but G42, in an act of good faith, has undertaken voluntary steps to actually create a new infrastructure platform that uses cryptography and end user verification in order to track every token on their cluster, to provide an unprecedented level of transparency to help give us assurance that their clusters are actually not being used in ways that violate U.S. law and UAE laws. And I think it's a welcome step. Our approach is trust but verify. And ultimately, we very much welcome the steps that they've taken. What's that?
I said you have very strong eyebrow game, by the way.
Thank you.
According to reporting referenced in the hearing, the chair of G42, who also serves as the UAE's national security advisor, purchased a $500 million stake in Trump's crypto venture just months before the administration approved access to 100,000 advanced AI chips for G42 and another 400,000 for other UAE firms. That's not routine trade. These are some of the most powerful semiconductor chips in the world, the kind used to train advanced artificial intelligence systems, the kind that determine who leads the next technological era. And here's the concern. G42 has previously drawn scrutiny over alleged tech cooperation with China. So the central question becomes, was this decision based purely on strategic alignment? Or was it influenced by private financial ties? Kamlager-Dove pressed the undersecretary directly. Did the administration conduct a thorough assessment of G42's ties to China before bringing it into the AI acceleration partnership? The official said yes, a very thorough due diligence, but declined to share classified details. He insisted that the UAE has largely complied when the U.S. raised concerns, and that G42 has severed ties with China. He also added that G42 has created a new infrastructure platform using cryptography and end-user verification to track AI usage, a trust but verify model. That sounds reassuring on paper, but here's why this hearing matters. First, the optics. A foreign national security advisor invests $500 million into the president's private business. Then that foreign-linked company receives access to strategically sensitive U.S. technology. Even if every step was legally vetted, the perception alone raises serious red flags. Second, the stakes. This isn't about sneakers or soybeans. This is about AI infrastructure, the backbone of military systems, intelligence capabilities, economic competitiveness, and global influence. If there's even a small risk that advanced chips could indirectly benefit China, that's not a minor compliance issue. That's a national security concern. Third, precedent. If foreign investors believe investing in a president's private ventures creates goodwill or access, that shifts how diplomacy works. It blurs the line between public policy and private profit. No, to be fair, the administration's defense is clear. They argue the UAE is a critical strategic partner. They point to massive investment pledges in the U.S. They claim concerns about China have been addressed. And they emphasize that no additional chip approvals are currently planned. But oversight isn't about comfort. It's about verification. Kamlager-Dove has already sent a letter to the Commerce Department's Inspector General requesting an investigation. That signals this won't disappear quietly. And here's the broader question for voters. Should presidents be allowed to maintain private ventures that accept large foreign investments while their administration makes decisions directly affecting those investors? Even if no laws were broken, the conflict of interest question remains. Because trust in government depends on the belief that policy decisions are made in the national interest, not influenced by private gain. We've seen this debate before in different forms: business holdings, foreign hotels, emoluments arguments. No, it's crypto and I. But the through line is the same. When private money intersects with public power, transparency becomes essential. This hearing wasn't theatrical outrage. It was an attempt to connect dots unto $500 million investment. Advanced AI chip approvals of prior China concerns ongoing strategic partnerships. Whether those dots form a pattern of corruption or simply a controversial policy decision is exactly what oversight is meant to determine. And in the AI era, these decisions don't just affect the present, they shape the balance of power for decades. This story is far from over. Because when national security, foreign investment, and presidential business interests collide, Congress is going to keep digging. And we'll keep breaking it down. Stay informed, stay engaged, and I'll see you in the next one.